Are we talking about the Tigers? Right now, I'm going to focus on all the other teams. So I got a bunch of teams in the American League, a bunch of teams in the National League. Now, let me add a little bit of a caveat here. So, for one, I don't watch. I'm not a religious base. I don't watch a lot of other teams' baseball. I'll watch them when they play the Tigers. So that's pretty much my, input, and I'll kind of gather from the records and anything else that I happen to catch. So all of this is my mere observations as a relatively, I wouldn't say, maybe you could call it casual. I don't know, as a relatively, focus on my home team, and then, incidentally happen upon some of the other teams. So if you're a fan of one of these teams and you're like, what do you mean? We shouldn't be buying. We should be, standing pat. Or what do you mean? Why didn't you include? I'm just one man, okay? All right. Look, okay. Let's get into it. So I got, let's see, 3 teams, excuse me, in the American League that I think almost certainly should be buyers. Those 3 teams are the Orioles, the Yankees, and the Guardians. So as far as the standings go, it sort of goes without saying. Orioles are the top team in the American League. The Guardians are winning their division. They're the second best team in the American League. And the Yankees are the best wild card team. They're fighting for that division with the Orioles. For one, the Orioles and the Yankees both have pretty deep farm systems. They got a lot of top prospects that they can utilize to actually get assets, to actually get players right here, right now. Especially the Orioles, as I talked about in the last section about the Tigers. As far as what the Orioles could use, it's a great question. But I would reckon, probably starting pitching. For one, I want to say they lost to start. They've had pitching woes with guys getting hurt and all that stuff. But I mean, right now you got Corbin Burns and things. Dean Kramer. Anybody? Kramer? Not spelled the same way as the Seinfeld character, but you got Corbin Burns, you got Grayson Rodriguez, and everybody else, basically. So I would be on the lookout for them to get some starting pitching. As far as guys they can look for, I mean, obviously, they're probably not going to go for Jack Flaherty. Garrett Crochet, certainly going to be a topic or a potential option for them. You got Tanner Scott out of the Marlins, a lefty. Obviously, we already mentioned Tarek Skubal. He is definitely going to be a feature. I think similar story with the Yankees. I mean, they've got the hitting. I don't think it's not really a question. As far as pitching, they still haven't gotten Garrett Cole back, which I thought he would be back by this point. But I don't really follow the Yanks. But yeah, I mean, it's a hole. It's a hole in their lineup for sure, or in their pitching staff, I should say. But obviously, it's not really a question of the bats. You have Soto, you have Judge. That's enough for most lineups, let alone a World Series contending lineup, which they obviously nobody's going to say don't add if you have an opportunity. But those 2 guys can definitely carry you in a deep playoff run, especially with your Gleyber Torres is not having a great year, but Verdugo's having also not that great of a year. It really just goes to show how good Juan Soto and Aaron Judge are. You have Verdugo and Stanton and Torres, and they're okay. And Rizzo, he's kind of like a dead body. But you got Anthony Volpe, who's having a solid year. You have it, and they're going to be looking for pitching, basically. Now, for the Guardians, it's also a similar story. Again, I feel like I'm just going to be saying this a lot. They want pitching. Every team wants pitching. The Guardians especially. They lost Shane Bieber. Right now, they were starting Xavier Rodriguez or something. I don't even remember what the guy's name was. Xavier something or other was starting. They had a guy yesterday. Oh my God. They had Carrasco starting. I think it was Jose Carrasco. Carlos Carrasco. I don't know why I said Jose. Carlos Carrasco is 100 years old. He's 37 years. He's got gray hairs. They had a pitcher who looked like an old man. But, hey, he's been pitching with Cleveland he pitched with Cleveland for a little bit there. The Mets back at Cleveland. Anyway, they were throwing Carlos Carrasco out there. they're going to be looking for pitching. They could be looking in division. Obviously, Skubal and Crochet are options, and Jack Flaherty as well. But other guys just sort of going through this list here. Eric Fetty, again, out of the White Sox. I mean, seriously, the White Sox. They're going to be one of the teams we talk about that are definitely going to be selling. But the Rays are another team. You could get Zach Eflin, Zach Little. I don't know what it is with Zach's. One's with a CK, one's with a CH. A lot of things going on in Tampa Bay. I don't understand. They got two Zachs and stuff. But yeah, for the Guardians and the Orioles and the Yankees, I was gonna say the Rankies. All of them are going to be interested in pitching. Obviously, nobody's going to be upset if you go after a bat. Lou Bob. I think Luis Robert. I know some people say Luis Robert. It's not Luis Robert. I know it seems weird, but it's just not. He's not French. Luis Robert. So he's going to be obviously on the table. Brent Rooker, Jazz Chisholm. He's another one of those guys. As far as bats and as far as to whether or not any one of these teams want to go get them, that's another story. Now, those are the teams I sort of alluded to. The teams are going to be selling. It's your White Sox, your Blue Jays, and your A's. They're definitely going to be selling. I'm sorry to all the teams, all the fans of those teams, except for the White Sox. You deserve this. I hate White Sox. They're terrible. I hope they sell every year. I hope they fall into the bottom of the ocean. That's what I would like. Anyway, but from the White Sox, guys that they're going to be giving up, Garrett Crochet. I don't know if they're going to move him, but they could get a haul for him because he's a young, controllable pitcher. Lou Bob is probably the biggest bat that they could sell. I don't really know their lineup enough to go any deeper than that. The Blue Jays, I mean, you have a lot of options. You have Bo Bichette, who just got hurt, so he probably lost a lot of his trade value. But some teams might be interested either way. If you're just thinking of just bottoming out, if you're Toronto, you have, maybe George Springer, Vlad Guerrero, things. There was a bunch of players that there were. Danny Jansen, Kikuchi, Richards. You got a lot of options, basically, if you're the Blue Jays. Blue Jays are actually as far as being a seller, they're in a good spot. Now, as far as, having a fun summer, they're not in a good spot. But you know what? You're living in Toronto. Is there summer in Toronto, or is it just always snowing? I say that as someone who's not all that far. I've been to Toronto, not even that far. Been to Rogers Center too. Pretty cool place. At least when I went in 6th grade as a child, I thought it was cool. Maybe when I get refined tastes as an adult, I would think differently. Anyway, but I got a few teams here in the middle that I'm like, this could be fun if these teams go out and buy. Now, I don't know whether or not they should or should not, but I'm just saying it would be fun. So, the Royals. I think they absolutely should be buying. I didn't put them in the absolutely should be buyers or almost certainly should be buyers. I do think that they should be buyers, though. Bobby Witt is playing out of his freaking mind. My brother, who is a Royals fan, he sent me a stat line that he had over his last 15 games. It was 500, a billion, and 65,000 was his stat, his last line. I was like, that is Barry Bonds, big heads, steroids, hitting 77 home runs in a season. That's what we're sitting with, basically. He's unbelievable. And Salvador Perez is still playing at an elite level. I can't believe that. And you still got you got Vinny Pasquantino, who I'm pretty sure is still healthy. I actually could be wrong. If any of these guys are hurt, I don't watch Royal Baseball. I'm sorry. But you have Maikel Garcia. I believe he's healthy. He's having a decent year. You have Brady Singer. You have Cole Reagans, guys who are pitching very well for them. So for me, it's look, make that push. Let's make the playoffs. Kansas City hasn't made the playoffs since they won the World Series in 2015. Go out and do something. Go on. The Kansas City sports fans are already spoiled with the Chiefs. Let's spoil them a little bit more with the Royals. Why not? Go have fun. The other team I put down here, or a couple other teams I put down here, I got the Red Sox. Again, last week we broke down some of the All-Star break teams. I don't know if the Red Sox are a real team, but they're in contention. So I don't know. Maybe they do something. I have no further commentary because I am not convinced they're a real team. I look at their roster and I'm genuinely Rafi Devers and copies of Rafi Devers used Shadow Clone Jutsu from Naruto, and he just created an entire roster. That's what it is. And then I put the Mariners and the Twins, both teams that are kind of bubbly. So do with that what you will. I do think the Twins probably would be the one that I'd be iffy about. If you're the Mariners, maybe you go and you get a Luis Robert or a Brent Rooker. You get a bat to kind of rejuvenate that offense a little bit. They looked like they could have been a good team, but they offensively, I don't know what's going on in Seattle. Maybe they just gave up. I don't know. Like they just drank too much Starbucks and it somehow sapped their hitting abilities. But then moving to the National League real quick so we can finish off this segment. The Phillies and the Dodgers definitely going to be buyers. Again, similar story. Pitching. You can also add hitting depth if you like. I mean, if you're the Dodgers, you're probably going to be more interested in pitching given Gausman. Is it Gausman? No, not Kevin Gausman. Glasnow. I almost made myself look like a fool. Glasnow, I believe, is still hurt. As far as their offense, they're hitting, and Mookie Betts is also still hurt. I don't know if he's back yet or when he will be back, if at all. So they certainly are a team to be watching. They always have the prospects. They're definitely going to be buying. Maybe they go into the Brent Rooker sweepstakes. Maybe they look into Luis Robert or Jazz Chisholm. Just going down the list here, Jesse Winker out of the Nationals as well. That's another good name. Randy Arozarena. He's a guy in search of a new home for sure. He's a guy who's definitely put it on for the playoffs, and the Dodgers would be very familiar with that, playing him in the World Series back in 2020. So either way, and the Phillies are just powerhouse. Do whatever you want. You could probably stand pat and you'd be probably fine, but do what you want. Basically, you're the Phillies. You're probably the best team in baseball from a roster standpoint. Then you got those teams that are definitely selling, and those are your Marlins, your Rockies, and your Reds. If I was those teams, just do whatever. Jonathan India. I mean, if you're the Reds, you're probably not trading Ellie, and you shouldn't, because if they traded Ellie, you might as well just trade the team to LA or wherever. That'd be the next move. But maybe your Jonathan India's, maybe some of those other guys that are peripheral guys. Jonathan India is a young player and he's a pretty good player, but I guess maybe I don't know where they're at. Reds fans, maybe you can let me know. Marlins, I mean, you're just terrible. And it doesn't help. Sandy Alcantara goes down beginning of before the year even starts. So you don't have him to help you in any way. So you're just terrible. But it just seems to me they just don't have the depth. So go out and make those trades, sell off as much as you can. I genuinely don't know who's on the Rockies, so I'm not going to comment. I just put them there because they suck. Now, as far as teams that are kind of in the middle, I want to talk about Seth's Padres because I do think they should buy, if only because I would like to have some postseason baseball to live react to, potentially, hopefully with Seth, because that would be a lot of fun to watch a baseball game, as likely his team lets him down once again. But I don't know. I mean, they're kind of a fun team. They could go out and maybe get some pitching. Maybe they go out and let's just keep scrolling down here. Maybe they go out, they grab Cal Quantrill. Maybe they go and they get Austin Gomer, Trevor Rogers. I don't know. Maybe they go out and they get an arm. I don't know. In my mind, I feel like they need pitching. I don't know if that's actually accurate. Just what I think. And then the other teams, the Pirates. That could be kind of fun. See the Pirates go out and buy. I don't know. The PNC playoff baseball is something else. So I would love to see them go out and buy. And then I threw in the Mets and the Cardinals. The Mets, I don't know. Grimace, he's given them strength. He's given them superpowers. I don't know how he does it, but he has. And the Cardinals, again, you're the Cardinals. You're a smart organization. You're probably just going to end up standing pat, but I don't know. It might be fun to see them go out and make some low-key moves and then sneak into the playoffs and make some noise. So all of that is your trade deadline blitz. I don't know. We just threw it all at you. And all of this could be total nonsense by next week's show. So you can go ahead and clip some of this and laugh at me. That's fine. Hey, man. As far as you help the video by watching it and interacting with it. So you know what? Do whatever you want. Hi, it's me again. If you enjoyed what you just saw, hit the like and subscribe button. We do live shows every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hope to see you there.